they would be like, "Oh, it's a ghost. It's a ghost baby." Okay,
Like this. Hold on.
why did I start this whiteboard thing?
Okay, let's see. Okay, so see, there's the stop. It's good. There's the camera and the photographer, right? And there's the dead baby. But then there is the family and their dead baby, and that's a picture right there. Is that good?
Why did we start with the whiteboard?
From the dawn of time, man has collected and shared stories. Many of those stories are inspirational. Some are haunting. And many of them are downright kooky. Welcome to Kooky Tales, a show where Rob and Susan discuss stories ranging from the supernatural to the downright bizarre and everything in between. Whether you prefer the dance macabre or doing the funky chicken, join us as we decide if these tales are spooky, full of dookie, or just downright kooky, here on Kooky Tales.
So, before we start, I have a list of things that I want to see on a scale of 1 to 10 how much you believe in these things.
Okay.
Number 1, Bigfoot.
6.
Out of 10, you think?
I think that there are animals that we don't know about yet, for sure.
Okay. UFOs, flying saucers, like outer space, not government ones.
Oh, not government ones. I think I'm getting closer to an 8. I get to sound like I'm crazy.
Okay. Dodge Neons.
Yes, 10.
Oh yeah, we owned a Dodge Neon.
That's silly.
It's like a heat, like on a lie detector.
Oh,
you got to ask the base question
Oh.
so you can gauge.
When do we drink?
You know what? We could do that now. Let's
All
just.
right.
What did we have?
Something I thought it was going to be chocolate, and it turned out to be clear, and it smells like mouthwash.
This is peppermint Christmas vodka.
Are we sipping or shooting?
I don't know. It's up to you. You can sip. Is this a normal part of the show? Do you think? Or
It's a normal part of life now. Ready?
oh, I believe in Bigfoot.
Oh my god! And next time I pick the drink, okay, hold on.
Snow them, go to. All right.
Dodge Neons are real, baby.
Only 2 numbers higher than flying saucers. Okay. So what are we doing here? This is the first episode of a new show that we are launching called Kooky Tales. Now, my wife has many nicknames for me. Well, some I could repeat, some I could not repeat. But one of the things that she has done me is the collector of collections. I collect a lot of different things. I've collected arcade games, video games,
Books, cups, ice cream cups, Star Wars figures, Scooby-Doo vans, popcorn machines, CDs, DVDs, movies, VHS tapes that don't belong to you.
They belong to me now.
Notebooks, socks, underwear. It just goes
All right.
on and on.
One of the things I've collected is stories. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved reading crazy stories. This is a book that I grew up with in my bedroom. This is Strange Stories, Amazing Facts. This was a Reader's Digest book that was put out in 1976. And it is 600 pages of all kinds of crazy stories, ghost stories and Bigfoot stories and weird stories from history. And I read this when I was a little kid, and I got addicted to this. I mean, this book right here was my gateway to all those Time Life books, the Mysteries of the Unexplained. Mm-hmm. I have a whole shelf in my office with those kind of books. That led me to Fate magazine. That led me to Ripley's Believe It or Not. Like, it all kind of started with this book. And I have collected mentally so many of these stories throughout my life, and I just thought this would be a fun idea for a show where I would share one of those stories with you each week and get your reaction on those shows. Right now I'm having a reaction to that peppermint schnapps.
Now that you know I believe in Bigfoot and UFOs, everyone I'm going to be like, oh, it's real.
The Dodge Neons. Okay, so for those of you that don't know who we are, I'm Rob. This is my wife, Susan. We both have social media presences. We both do a lot of things, but our crowds don't really overlap.
No.
That much. And so we didn't really discuss what order, but I thought, so this is what I thought, that I would let you introduce yourself.
Oh, okay.
But I also want to introduce you.
Okay.
So like 30 seconds, like you could, I don't know what order, and then we'll do the same for me, but I don't know what order you want to do.
Okay. I actually made notes about myself because I didn't know if I would remember myself. So I am
You didn't know if you would remember yourself.
I proclaim myself to be the queen of contagious laughter. And I think everybody in the family will agree, once I get started, it is uncontrollable. My daughter has the laugh. My dad had the laugh. You'll see, hopefully you get to see if the stories that Rob tells are funny. But so that's one of the things that I really like about myself. I'm retired from the government, and I do social media pretty much every single day. My post reach right now is about getting close to 700,000 followers on different social media platforms and stuff like that. I've written 6 books under my real name and several books under a pen name, and Rob doesn't even know about all of them. Like my greatest...
Like erotic fiction? What do you...
Yeah. How to make French toast. Anyway, it's a long story. Anyway, so I do all of this social media stuff all the time. But I also have a whole bunch of Instagram channels. Like I have some hidden ones where I've captured different things happening in my car when Rob's writing funny commercials and he doesn't know it. And I have an Instagram channel for the cats. And I also have obviously Instagram channels for whenever I'm posting in front of statues, because who doesn't? You know. So anyway, I also probably have the world's worst adult artistic talent. I live and die by stick figures. I'm really into stick figures. I never advance past stick figuring. Also, I really have no idea what this podcast is about. We've done a lot of funny things together, though, so I'm here for it. So there you go.
That's how you would introduce yourself to somebody.
For this podcast. Not for my business consulting.
All right. Well, this would be my introduction for you. I would say this is my wife, Susan. She was born and raised, and other than a short period of time when we lived in Washington, has lived here in Oklahoma. She's older than me by
6 months.
2 months.
2 months. Months.
I would say that if I had to describe you, I would say you are an unstoppable force. That everything that you have chosen to do, you do full on. You have been not just a mother to our children, but a Girl Scout leader, volunteer for many different projects, volunteers for the schools, for the community. Everything that you do 110%. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say that you are an inspiration to them. And both of us at different times have been asked, where do we get the energy to do all of our projects? So, retired from the federal government and now is in the process of launching her own shoe company, her own consulting company. And, of course, we'll put all those links, at the end of the show. But I would say you've been retired for,
a year.
A year?
Yeah.
A year now, and is busier now than you were when you worked full-time for the government.
Yeah, I wrote 7 of the 8 books last year. So, yeah, for sure.
And big fan of peppermint schnapps.
Nothing about my art skills, I see.
Art skills are going to come up and play in just a moment here on the show. I've got a little surprise for you to play it. Okay, so are you going to introduce me?
Yes.
Or I introduce me?
No, I'll introduce you first.
Okay.
So this is Rob. He's the actual host of the podcast. By day, he is a government computer dude still, and is also a master of words, like a really, really skilled writer. So in your free time, Rob weaves tales that will have you laughing, crying, and everything in between. Rob is ridiculously smart. He was one of those kids that could read when he was like 2 or 3 years old, and they didn't know what to do with him in school. He's a collector of pretty much everything, both physical and digital, including Commodore games from back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. He's an Irish boy with an Irish attitude, a video editing wizard turning footage into cinematic magic faster than you can say lights, camera, action. Rob has been blogging since...
Cinematic magic.
Ooh, I know. Ooh. Rob's been blogging since blogging wasn't cool, and back again, and podcasting since it was done with 2 cans and a string. He's the only person who beat me out of the class of 91 class clown vote, and I'm still pretty pissed off about that. But he keeps me entertained with his homemade commercials and fun ideas for shows. So 30 years later, here we are in our backyard booth doing this podcast for you for a kick.
Huh. I was voted the best sense of humor class of 19.
It's because I hadn't come out of my shell yet.
That's true. That's true. I brought you out. I dragged you out.
Right. Okay, so introduce yourself.
I would say my name is Rob O'Hara. A lot of people know me online from... I have been online since being online was a thing. I was online since before online was really a thing. I got my start with computers in the dawn of home computers, like TRS-80 computers. My computer that I associate myself most with is the Commodore 64. I've written a book about the Commodore 64. I've written a book about arcade games. I'm a writer. I'm a blogger. I'm a podcaster. I'm a YouTuber. Those are all things that I do outside of work. I went back to college a couple of years ago and got a master's degree in professional writing. And I've really put that to use by making dumb commercial jingles in the car and... and podcasts such as Kooky Tales. So, I don't know. I think that's about me in a nutshell. Born and raised here. We met in high school. We got married 4 years after high school. Mm-hmm. And next year will be our 30th anniversary. We've been through many, many adventures together. We have been to all 50 states together. Mm-hmm. We have been on cruises, road trips, and the adventure just keeps getting better every day. Don't do a turkey bomb.
I'm sorry, it's cool.
Okay, so again, the idea for the podcast is that I'm going to come up with a kooky story. Okay. These could be stories. These could be supernatural. I mean, today's episode, I'm going to be talking about some ghosts that appeared one time in the ocean. But we could be talking about Bigfoot. We could be talking about UFOs. We could be talking about true crime. We could be talking about spontaneous combustion. There's no telling. Just, it will be kooky. It will be some kooky story. I may have some... trivia questions for you along the way. Oh, no. I may have some different things like that, but it's going to be a fun, entertaining time for me. Second of all, hopefully for you. Probably last of all for her. But but that's kind of the way things are going to roll. Now, one of the things that you can see, like I'm not really a wizard when it comes to graphics and setting up things. I put the show title up there at the top. We've got this graphic over here blocking this box that our microphones are on. And I've did my best to kind of set up. There's a 50% chance that something electronically will fail during this show and probably a 90% chance that it will never work again. And I wanted to have some sort of, all these streams and YouTube videos and stuff have cool graphics. Like they're doing their story. And they have graphics that pop up, like about what they're talking about and stuff like that. But not on the budget. Oh. Our Patreon budget right now is 0. And also we don't have one.
Oh, okay.
Right. And we don't even have buy me a coffee. We have buy me a peppermint schnapps shot. So in lieu of that, what I have set up here is this dry erase board. So as you can see this here, I don't know why would I show a dry erase board. You know what a dry erase board is. So here's a dry erase board.
For me?
Yes. And a dry erase, brand new dry erase marker. You might want to make sure that works. I just bought that. That's weird. We are now $6.95 in the hole on the current budget. So as we go through today's Kooky Tale, you will be drawing your own illustration as to what's going on in the Kooky Tale, and then every now and then we will stop. You're not. What are you already drawing?
I'm illustrating.
I haven't started the story yet. You're going to do illustrations, and then every now and then we will check them throughout the show. So you can do multiple ones if you want. Like we'll do one, and then you might stop me and say,
"Oh,
I've got something," or I might stop and say, "How's it going over there?" or something like that. Okay.
Okay.
I know you're a big fan of the
drawing.
big fan of the drawing. So, okay. We're going to get started with the first episode and the first Kooky Tale. But to do this, we've got to go back to the 1800s a little bit. And now this story actually takes place in the 1900s. So I've got to... What have you...
It's you. Show him again. It looks just like him. Except the hat's see-through. Oh, my.
The whiteboard is a bad idea, right off the bat. Like,
Oh, my God. I love it. Okay.
So in the mid-1800s, there was a new invention called the camera.
Okay.
The first practical camera was invented in 1939. And then shortly after that, it was magic. It was magic to people. People didn't understand the camera. They were like, how did my image appear on this camera? That's how people talk to the 1800s.
That's how I am now.
Right. Still to this day. Like, magnets, how do they work? So, so one of the things that people took advantage of very early on was ghost photography. So people would say, I want this picture. The old, like a negative that you think of as a negative, they used glass for negatives. And so what people would do is they would do double exposure. So people would literally go to like an old-timey photo studio, and they would say, this is sad, but they would say, like, I had a stillborn child, and I want a picture made, you know. And so they would go and they would take a picture on this glass plate, like, of a newborn child, and then have the people come in and take a photo of them. And then when they did the exposure or whatever, they would have the ghost baby. Okay?
Like this. Hold on.
Why did I start this whiteboard thing?
Okay, let's see. Okay, so see, there's the... Stop, it's good. There's the camera and the photographer, right? And there's the dead baby, but then there is the family and their dead baby, and that's a picture right there. Is that good?
Why did we start with the whiteboard?
You told me that, because we can't afford a, you know.
You want to close up of that again?
Yeah, let's do it. It's good. What do you think? Dead baby? Is that what you wanted? That you're hoping for?
In what world would that be what I was hoping for? Okay.
Ghost photography. Here we are.
Right.
So this 1800s something.
1800s, right. But cameras were not like, you didn't just go buy a camera, right? This is like the guy with the pole, like that thing, right? Okay.
Yeah, 10 types.
Right. But, what?
10 types. You know.
That was just one.
Like 10 types. TIN.
Oh. I don't know what that is. That was not in my notes.
Oh.
Okay. But things really took a turn in 1888. This is when Kodak introduced the first camera.
Okay.
1888. So you could now go to a store and buy a Kodak camera in 1888. How much in 1888 do you think that cost?
Like 4 shillings.
In the United States. Not for pirates.
I seriously like just a couple of bucks because there's inflation, reverse inflation.
It costs $25
Wow.
for a camera. $25 in 1888 would get you the following. You ready?
All right.
One cook stove.
Okay.
It was the same price.
Oh, I see.
You
Okay.
could get a cook stove. For $25, you could get 3 muzzle-loading rifles.
Wow.
So that would be your option. 3 rifles
Okay.
or a camera. Okay?
Okay.
5 acres of land.
Jeez.
So 5 acres of land or a camera. 25 lanterns. I don't know why you would need 25.
Unless you're having a podcast in the
What if you're a
1880s.
collector of lanterns?
Yeah, you can't have lanterns. I'm sorry.
Or you could have,
Wow.
what about this? 416 pounds of lard.
Yeah, no, I'm here for that.
Okay.
How many guns?
3 muzzle loaders. 3 muzzle loading rifles. With the inflation adjuster,
Uh-huh.
$25 in 1888 is $807 today.
Which is less than an iPhone. So it's not that bad, right?
Ours is free, right?
Well, no, you make payments on it, but you know. So 3 muzzle loading guns
Yeah.
is the same as the thing, right? So here we go. Here's the Price is Right tag. 1 stove or 3 guns.
Wait, where's the lard?
How many pounds of lard?
416 pounds of
I
lard.
don't even know what lard looks like, but let's just say it looks like this.
Let me show you.
Lard. All right, there you go. The Price is Right. Price is wrong, Bob. There's 3 muzzle loading guns, a vat of lard or stove for $25. Am I getting this taken away? All right, so $800, which is not, I mean,
Not chump change, but I mean, think about today, like an iPhone or something. Like it would be a very, very expensive thing.
yeah,
Like you would go, do I want that or do I want 5 acres?
food, or don't, food, yeah, 5 acres.
Right.
Things were out of whack then.
Things were out of whack. So, it also turns out that the 1880s are a pretty dangerous time to live. There were a lot of deaths in the 1880s, which is going to bring us into today's story. Okay?
Hence the dead baby.
The principal causes of death. Now, this is an actual. What is it with the dead baby?
Well, you started it. Anyway, it's a ghost baby. Okay. The principal cause of death was.
Well, so no, this is an actual government report. This is the official. The name of this report. This is a government report. It's called "The Principal Causes of Death in the United States Registration Area, 1920 Census." This is the Bureau's Summary of Mortality Statistics. This is a government report that they put out that would say how many people died and what did they die of every year. Now, this is 1920.
Right.
Our story takes place in 1925. So
Okay.
this would be from that era.
Can I guess?
No.
Oh.
Because, I mean, I'll give you stuff to guess here, but I mean,
okay.
what are you going to guess?
Snake bite.
No.
Oh.
First of all, there are 34 states at this point in time. There
Okay.
are only 34 states.
Yep.
The population of those 34 states is 87 million people.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, how many of those that year, out of 87 million people, how many people do you think died that year?
Let's see. 48,000.
1.1 million.
Whoa.
Right. So, not a good time to live. That's like
No.
one out of 87. That's not
Yeah,
good
that's
odds.
not good at all.
Right. You want me to tell you? You want to guess how many people? Or you want me to just tell you some things?
Just tell me some things, I guess.
120,000 people that year died of pneumonia.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. You can't draw pneumonia, I don't think. 99,000 people died of tuberculosis.
Oh, see, it's all lung things.
9,000 died from automobile accidents. So just put this in perspective. You were 10 times more likely to die from tuberculosis than a car accident.
Right.
It was a rough era.
Right.
2,000 people died. These are tied. 2,000 people died from accidental shootings, and 2,000 people died from miners, like miners. Not children, but people that worked at mines.
Oh, like they
Like
were
mining accidents.
coal mine people.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's what it looks like when you die of pneumonia and tuberculosis.
Well, I had another thing I want you to draw. I have another statistic
but
for
look
you.
at the lungs, see?
You ain't a ladybug.
No, it's lungs. That's like inflamed lungs.
Okay, well, you ready for the next one?
Yeah. I think I'm doing good.
47,000 people died from diarrhea.
Oh, man, I've had days like that.
Don't draw that one. Don't draw that one. 10,000 people died from whooping cough. 9,000 people died from hernias. The same amount of people that died from automobile accidents died from hernias.
Yeah, so if you've got a lump, you need to
Don't
get that.
draw that one also.
Well, you need to get that checked out.
6,000 people died from homicides. And 8,000 people died of syphilis.
Yep.
I see you're drawing that one.
Good times were had in the 1800s and 1900s. So just in case you all don't know, here's what a hernia looks like. Basically that. Let me put arms in there so you can see. If you have that, go to the doctor. It's a hernia. I think I'm really capturing what you're trying to tell me.
Also, in 1920, Nebraska was added as a state.
Okay.
So those numbers for diarrhea might be off.
No, that's really true because they are the diarrhea capital of the world.
Everybody knows it. So anyway, let's get into this kooky tale. This kooky tale takes place on an oil tanker
Okay.
called the SS Watertown. She jumps in to draw the hernia and the lard, not so much the point of the show, which would be this tanker, the USS Watertown. The USS Watertown was a oil tanker that was owned by the company that is today Sitco.
Oh.
So it's the same company. And there were two guys that were working on this oil tanker named James Courtney and Michael Meegan, and they suffocated to death while working on this oil tanker.
It's terrible.
They were working in something called a cofferdam. Do you know what a cofferdam is?
No.
I had no idea. What a cofferdam is let's say a cruise ship, like a modern cruise ship, it goes over a reef and tears a hole in the bottom of the ship.
Okay.
How do you fix that?
I guess you have to do it from the inside out or welded.
You can't.
Yeah.
There's water.
Yeah, you're
Right?
dead.
So what they do is they literally come in and they build a fence around the ship. And they hammer the fence into the ocean bottom. Okay? So it's a watertight seal around the ship. And then they pump out the water.
Well, that's clever.
So now you got a fence around the ship and they brace it, right? Okay. So what happened was these guys they also had those inside, like a small one where they're working on the ship. And these guys went into this cofferdam and were working, and somehow there was a gas leak. And so the gas leak got into this area, which has to be, waterproof and everything, and they died. Okay? They were apparently welding and doing some repairs to the ship.
Oh, that's pretty terrible, don't you think?
It's a bad way to go. In fact, there was a third sailor on the ship who went in to try to retrieve them, like to drag them out, and he passed out. But they were able to get that guy out before he died. But his name not important to the story. He was not named in the story. And so they did what you did in 1925. What is this? The cofferdam?
And the two dead guys floating in the cofferdam, and then the guy that lived is on the deck. There you go.
I mean, I've never seen a cofferdam, but I mean that is what I imagine it would look
It looks like they're just in like an above ground pool at this point.
Kind of.
Well,
these guys were not in an above ground pool, because what you did in 1925, if you were just out working on a ship and two guys died, you buried them at sea.
Buried him at sea, yeah.
Which you would call Littering.
I would, yeah.
I mean, if we were on a cruise ship and I tried to throw something over, what'd you say?
What the hell are you doing?
Right. They threw over bodies. They buried these 2 guys at sea. So they came back, 2 guys lighter, and they were like, well, these guys died at sea and we buried them at sea, okay?
Okay.
That's not the only thing they said when they came back. They said that in the waves and the, what do you call it? Like on
The current?
no, the foam like that the ship makes.
The wake.
Yeah, the wake. That they could see the faces of the dead guys.
Oh.
Like ghostly faces.
Uh-huh.
I don't have a picture I can throw. I'll throw a picture up in the edit so you can see what it looks like. But this is not like spooky, spectral, something like you can recognize the guys. It's their faces.
I mean, did they not bury them with a weight or something?
It's not their real face. They're not bobbers. It's their ghost faces.
Yeah, but check this out. So this is burial at sea, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
See, they're dumping them off the
I
back
thought
of
they
the
put
boat.
them like in a lead coffin so the coffin would go down.
I don't know. In this case, they weren't prepared and they just dumped them.
I mean, they could put them in an oil barrel. It's an oil tanker.
You know, they don't carry around barrels. They
Oil
dump-
tankers don't have oil barrels?
No, it's like a big tanker thing. Okay, so they saw their faces in the water.
They were following them. They were like, they're going, and they are following the ship. Okay?
All right.
And so they got back, and so they came back, and they were like, you know, where's James? They're like, well, we dumped him in the ocean, but they followed us, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, we're not sure we believe this, okay?
Yeah, I don't know.
So the captain bought one of those cameras,
Oh,
and they went back, and as they were going out, they took pictures of the ocean, okay, of the wake. And I believe it said they took 6 photos. And in 5 of the 6 photos, you can't see anything. I mean, it's just water. And by the way, you've never seen those 5 of those 6 photos, right? Those, like, they got those developed and trimmed away. It didn't matter. But in the 6th photo, you can very plainly see the faces of these 2 guys. 100%.
and this was so new that they didn't know that you could like double expose. This is what they saw when they took the picture, by the way.
I
So-
can't see your face. You can hold it over here.
This is the guy under the water, and he's like, ooh. I think it's good. Now, I mean, you get the point.
No.
Look, ooh, haunted orbs.
Is he smelly?
No, it's like, this is the picture that they saw. Here, like, let me put a frame on it for you so you can get more perspective.
Yeah, but look at his head. It's like he's.
That's his hair floating in the water. That's smelly.
I thought there was stink coming off him,
Well, it probably is, but
like pig pen.
no, he's like, ooh.
All right,
Is that what the picture looks like, by the way?
exactly. That's exactly. I thought you might have seen the photo based on that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, now, here's the thing about this photo. They ran the photo. The photo ran in newspapers in 1935. This is 10 years after the thing. But no one has seen that version of the photo. Okay? Now you got to fast forward. All right?
Okay.
You got to fast forward to 1960s. In the 1960s, there's a magazine called Fate magazine. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I am not.
Fate magazine is a small tabloid-style paper. It looks like a Reader's Digest. And literally, this was kind of like the predecessor, in a way, to the National Enquirer.
Okay.
Like, it would have stories like, I was abducted by aliens. I mean, nothing in Fate magazine. It was all great reading, but on the truth spectrum,
Tabloid.
kind of.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Fate magazine in the 60s ran a story about the SS Watertown, and they published a picture. The picture, it is of the photo that appeared in the newspaper, but it's zoomed in and cropped in. It's very small, and all you can see are the guys' faces. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there are big white arrows pointing to the guys' faces.
And they're always together when they take the pictures.
I mean, they only showed up in one picture.
Isn't that suspect?
No, because this is dead ghost guys in the ocean. What would be suspect about that?
I mean, now they're bound together forever because they both got pushed into the water at the same time.
I don't know what the rules are as far as ghost spectrals that drown together. I don't. Maybe they are linked
It's
together.
like zoomed in really tight on
Right.
them. Like this dude's missing an ear.
Like maybe everybody from the Titanic is still partying together,
No, they're all.
or they go their own way.
Yeah. So they're like this. They're like,
I mean, that is.
that's like that, right?
If you had a big arrow going to each one, that is pretty close to what the photo looks like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's just do 2 arrows then.
Yeah, show off that Picasso.
I mean, I really. Right? I mean, they're under the water. No! They're under the water and there's arrows and they're like, ugh. You know?
You know, I did at one point consider bringing colored markers, and I'm so glad I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd be watercoloring in.
Oh,
there'd be-
man. Think of the blues. It'd be great.
So Fate magazine posted or ran a photo. It's the zoomed in photo. It has the arrows. Everyone that ever talks about this case, they're not talking about the original photo. They're talking about the photo that ran in Fate magazine.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the thing, is that nobody has seen the original photo. Everybody has seen the zoomed in close version of the photo that was run in Fate magazine.
Literally, it could have been like a grouper face or something from the water. I mean,
It's not a grouper. I mean, if you saw it, like if it was someone you knew, you would be like, that's Uncle Larry. It's not like like foam, like, you know how, what is that called? Where, you know, the condition where people think that they see faces and like I do, like you go, oh, that traffic light looks like a face, or you
like
know what I mean?
schizophrenia or something?
No,
Oh.
it's it's a scientific thing. You wouldn't understand.
I wouldn't understand it.
No, I just can't think of the name, but there's a condition where people see, like, you know, you see like a wall outlet, it just looks like a face.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Okay.
Like the egg.
Yes, exactly.
Hello.
Right. So, I'm about ready for another shot. This is ridiculous. So, it's not like that. It's not like if you saw the ocean foam, the wake, and you were like, is that a guy? Is it not a guy? It's a face. Like if you saw it, you would be like, I could recognize that dude. I could pick that guy out of a lineup. It's real.
Were there witnesses that saw this besides
Yes.
this one?
All the
Nut job.
sailors said it was following them the whole time. That's why they got the camera.
Well, I think that their bodies probably got hooked on some kind of a rope and they
No.
were literally just dragging the dudes across
No,
the ocean.
it was literally their face, and they were like talking. Okay, I made that part up.
Like,
That'd be a good twist to the story. No, it's literally like they're just like, it's ghost faces. It's weird.
okay.
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 All right. Here, we've kind of already done this. You kind of already said this, but I put a pause in the show right here in my notes
Oh,
to get your feedback so far. What do you think about the story?
no way it's true. No way.
Okay, just to recap, there is a oil tanker. Every soldier, or not soldier, every sailor on this ship saw the ghost faces.
Yeah, they're all full of
The
crap.
captain saw the ghost faces. People didn't believe them. He went and bought, instead of 416 pounds of lard, he went and bought a Kodak camera. They took it back out in the waves. He took a picture of 2 ghost faces that looked like the 2 dudes, James and whatever his name was, and then sent it, and it was published in a newspaper, and then it was published in Fate magazine in a form where you could literally see the 2 guys' faces.
Yeah, no way in hell that's happened. They drew on the negative. They had scurvy. They wanted to get famous.
Scurvy.
They were sick of being on the oil tanker. They were all like, hey guys, let's get together and let's make this story up. And we're sworn to secrecy. And then everybody gets off the oil tanker. We get rich from the tabloid. No way that's real.
I mean, there is a good incentive to get off the oil tanker saying that their two buddies just suffocated on it.
Yes.
So, I mean, I could see that.
I'll believe in UFOs, but not that.
That story is in this book.
Great.
And I grew up thinking that if you died at sea, there's a possibility that your ghost face might be following around whatever boat you died. I mean, this haunted me.
Right. Look over your shoulder.
It's a luck dragon.
It's a ghost face.
It's not a ghost face. It's a
Did you
Falcor.
bury somebody in the movie room?
I'm about to. So you're not into this.
No, it's not true. There's no way.
All right. So enter Blake Smith. Blake Smith is a paranormal researcher, but he's not a kooky guy. He's a factual guy. I don't want to say he's a debunker. I don't want to say he's like, I would say he's impartial. He's a researcher.
So
right?
he's not Amazing Randy either. He's just...
Right. I would say Amazing Randy is a guy that says, I don't believe in psychic powers and I'm going to do everything to disprove that. Right. But also Amazing Randy also said, if you can come in and prove it, that's all good. But we know that he doesn't believe in that, which is, and now he's dead. So where's that drawing? But
right there.
Amazing Randy's been reincarnated into Falcor the Luck Dragon. Okay. So this guy, this Blake guy, he's not really partial. He just wants to get to the bottom of these stories, right?
Okay.
So he starts doing all this research. So the first research he does is he starts digging through microfiche and he finds the newspaper from 1935 with the photo.
Okay.
Okay? Not only... Now, here's the problem. A newspaper, the photography, the level... what's the word? Like the...
Quality?
Yeah, that might be a word. Resolution, whatever, of the photograph, it's going to be blurry. It's not going to be good, right? Mm-hmm. That photo, blown up, is hanging in an office at Citgo right now. It's hanging in a meeting room.
What?
Yes. Okay? So, he went to Citgo to go see the original picture.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because here's the thing. It's hard to see what's going on in the one that appeared in Fate magazine because it's so small, right? Does that make sense? I mean, it's so cropped.
Yeah.
You can't see where it is. You can't see
context.
it.
Yeah,
right. So he goes to Citgo and sees this photo, and there are two things that he notices.
Okay.
The first is that the original context and the way that it's presented in Fate magazine is that you are looking over like the edge of the ship and looking down into the ocean and seeing ghost faces. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. But when he sees this one, the original, that's not what it looks like. It's a ship and there's like a tidal, like they're in a storm and there's a tidal wave like coming up to hit the side of the ship. And their faces are in that, okay? But here's the thing that is unique. There's two problems with this. The first, I don't even know which is the bigger problem. The first problem is that the faces don't look like the faces in the picture in the Fate magazine.
Oh, boy.
Which means the photo that appeared in Fate magazine is not a copy of the original. It's not a blow-up of the original. It's a different picture.
Yep.
The second problem is that when you look at the scale, because of the size of this wave, these guys' faces would have been about 12 foot tall.
Right. It's just their faces, though. It's not everything.
It's just their faces. But here's the thing. In all the historical documents about this story, all the time I keep saying soldiers, but the sailors, none of them were like, hey, we saw ghost faces, and by the way, they were 12 foot tall. Like, that is a fact you would probably mention.
I mean, this may be, if you're thinking about it from scale, Their faces are probably a little bit bigger than 12 foot, but you get the point.
And that's exactly right. That is exactly right. Also,
check.
When you look at it,
Yeah.
there's like the ship, and then there's all this stuff like ropes and whatever. And I mean, it probably didn't have sails, but whatever is on a ship, right? Like
Yeah.
ropes and stuff. Their faces are in between some of those things, right? And so in the original photo, it does kind of look like a coincidence. It does look like maybe it's just part of the ocean, and you go, it kind of looks like a face.
It's a jellyfish or something.
It
Yeah.
just foam, right? Just stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then you got to jump up to the picture that was in Fate magazine, right?
Yep.
The picture that was in Fate magazine has very clearly identifiable faces. Like when you see that, they are their faces, right? But what's always been odd about that picture is that the arrows that are pointing to the faces are like the size of the faces. They're huge. It's not like somebody drew a line and said, hey, by the way, in this picture, you wouldn't need an arrow to see the faces. It's like putting an arrow on this and saying, here's our faces. Like you can see where our faces are, right? Mm-hmm. In that picture, you can see faces, right? But if you look kind of towards the bottom, you can kind of see an outline where maybe these were cut out and stuck to the picture. And the arrows are covering up the doctor work.
I see.
So the arrows, that's why that picture had such large cutout arrows, is because it was covering the fact that that version of the photo was doctored.
Yeah.
So basically, this guy, Blake Smith, I mean, he pretty much debunked it. So Citgo, it is a true story. These guys did die on this tanker. They did suffocate. They were buried at sea. The sailors did say they saw them. The captain got a camera. He did take the photo. The only disconnect is that the photo that we all know today is not actually the photo
It's like
that he took.
bad journalism or something where someone was like, I'm going to tell this story and then I'm just going to, make up a picture like this.
What is that?
It's more accurate depiction of what was in the paper.
It's the Pillsbury Doughboy.
No, you said that they had more detail than their faces, so I gave
They're
them.
gingerbread men.
They have hats
Why would ghosts have hats?
because it's more detail. See,
You wouldn't have a hat. You think they're buried at sea with hats?
it's more. Look, they have mustaches too. See,
Give me the marker.
I'm not giving you the marker. This is my job now. This is what I do. I used to be a government manager, and now I do this.
Come so far.
I know, right?
So, I don't know the name of the guy who wrote the actual article in Fate magazine.
Yeah.
But I did look up his byline, and it said what he is most famous for is faking UFO pictures.
Yeah.
And that is his credentials. Like, that's his byline.
Yeah.
So, the story of the SS Watertown is, by all accounts, true. They said that they saw ghost faces. They said that they saw these, they took the picture, and that picture is hanging in Citgo. However, that picture shows something that kind of looks like a face and kind of looks like maybe it's just part of the ocean.
Like seaweed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one in Fate magazine looks a lot like faces because he cut out faces and stuck them on the picture.
I mean, I think, I do think the story is true. I think the dude probably faked him for a good story, and I think that the people on the ship, you've been stuck out there forever. Hell, I get that way on a 3-day cruise. Like, I see faces.
If something happened to one of us on a cruise, would you want to be buried at sea?
No, I'm going to be buried in Lake Hefner. I'm going to be sprinkled in Lake Hefner.
Well, what are they going to do? Like, take you all the way back on the cruise and then...
Yep.
And what am I supposed to do? Just go to the buffet and be like, now I got to get my own refills.
Pretty much. It's going to be tough. No, I don't want to be buried at sea. You want to be buried at sea at Mr. Sancho's.
Mr. Sancho's.
Right.
Shout out to Mr. Sanchez. It's going to be our first sponsor on the show. We're going to get Mr. Sanchez on there. So that's the story. That is my kooky tale. That is the story of the SS Watertown, the ghost faces. If you'd like to work on a final piece of, what are you doing there? Let's see. Because it's not Mythbusters.
There's no way that's true.
It's 100%. I mean, I just told you it's true.
Okay.
They think it's true.
They saw something in the water, but
Yes.
it was seaweed or jellyfish or the start of the plastic island.
No, it's not the plastic island. All right.
I hope you've enjoyed my art.
It was wonderful. It was a good addition. Do you have before we wind up? Why don't you take 30 seconds and tell people what are you doing? Give me that.
Tell people what?
Where they can find you online.
Oh, dear Lord. For real. So my largest social media presence is legslikemine.com, where I do all kinds of advocacy for women who have a condition that I have called lipedema. And I'm all over Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of them, right? YouTube. I've got a really great YouTube channel. On Amazon, you can find me under Susan O'Hara. All of my books are listed there except for the secret ones, and you just have to find them on your own. If you want to learn how to make French toast, you got to find it yourself. But legslikemine.com is my big one. Yeah.
Okay. And you can find me at robohara.com. Gosh, I should have planned this better. All my podcasts, I have a lot of different podcasts that are mostly geeky, computery type podcasts. But all of the podcasts, including this one, can be found at podcast.robohara.com. I've spent the week setting up all the stuff for this show, so you can find the show on YouTube under Kooky Tales Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Kooky Tales Podcast. And we have an email at kookytalespodcast@gmail.com. So if you want to send in feedback on this first episode, if you want to send in ideas for topics you would like us to cover, if there's tales. I mean, I got a lot of tales. I got hundreds of tales.
I've got lots of art inside me that needs to come out. If you need me to draw you a picture, you just let Rob know. Do not email me.
So yeah, if you want to. I have another podcast called You Don't Know Flat, which is YDKF, and we have a voice mailbox. So if you want to call anytime, 24 hours, it just goes to a voicemail. It's limited to 3-minute message, but if you want to leave a message, you can call area code 405-486-YDKF and leave a message. So Instagram, YouTube, the phone number, the email address. If you want to give us feedback, that would be great. So,
no art tips. I am not trainable. I'm just telling you now, don't even try.
yeah, I have books from when I was a child. I collected art drawing books.
Yeah. I am amazing at paperwork.
How to draw a Woody Woodpecker. It didn't go.
If you need me to do paperwork, I'm down.
Good at the paperwork,
Yeah.
not good at the artwork. So,
Yeah.
First episode, that was your first spooky tale. Thanks for watching, and we will be every Monday be a new episode on Apple Podcasts. Look for Kooky Tales Podcast and on YouTube. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, what topics would you like to see covered in future episodes?
No more ghost faces. I would like some spontaneous combustion. That sounds interesting.
I mean, that might be arranged for the more drawings like that.
Aw. Flammable marker. Oh, that probably is flammable.
And what about twins? Stuff about twins,
Like-
coincidences.
What kind of twin stuff?
Like twin doublespeak. That's interesting. Stuff like that, or
Yeah, I'll have to think about it. Like anything kooky.
yeah. It doesn't have to be supernatural. It could be
Kooky.